Spider-Man is the ultimate underdog, right? The hero who never gives up, always finds a way, and keeps pushing forward no matter what. But what if I told you that his struggles are nothing compared to what Invincible goes through? While Peter Parker deals with bad luck and heartbreak, Mark Grayson faces betrayals, brutal losses, and choices that would destroy any other hero. Today, we're breaking down why Invincible isn't just better than Spider-Man, he makes Spidey's struggles look easy. Spider-Man fans love to talk about how hard Peter's life is, but let's be real, Peter had time to adjust. He got to slowly learn what it meant to be Spider-Man. He had fun swinging through the city, making jokes, and figuring things out. Mark, he had none of that. One moment, he was an excited teenager getting his powers, dreaming about being a hero. The next, his father, the man he admired most, was throwing him through buildings and slaughtering thousands in front of his eyes. No transition, no warning, no time to prepare. Imagine waking up thinking the world makes sense, only to go to bed realizing your entire life was a lie. Losing Uncle Ben was tragic, no doubt, but at least Peter had closure. He knew his uncle loved him, and his death gave him a clear purpose. Mark didn't get that luxury. He didn't just lose his father, he was betrayed in the most brutal way possible. His dad, the man who raised him, didn't die heroically. He beat Mark nearly to death while telling him he was worthless. And worst of all, Omni-Man didn't even kill him, he left, making Mark live with the pain. How do you grieve someone who's still alive? Someone who told you that your mother, the woman who raised you, was nothing more than a pet. That's not grief. That's trauma on a level Spider-Man could never understand. Spider-Man is never truly alone. Even when times are tough, he has Aunt May, MJ, Ned, or even the Avengers. Someone is always there to remind him he's loved. Mark had no one. His mother was broken, barely able to function. His friends weren't Viltrumites, they couldn't possibly understand what he was going through. And the worst part, the only person who could understand his father was the one who caused his pain. Imagine being in the darkest moment of your life, looking around for support, and realizing there's nobody who can help you. That's the difference. Spider-Man suffers, but he never suffers alone. Mark does. When Peter Parker got bitten by that radioactive spider, he was thrilled. He played around with his powers, had fun web-slinging, and even used them for personal gain before realizing his responsibility. Mark didn't get that. He was excited at first, but the moment he found out the truth, his powers became a curse. They weren't meant for heroism. They were meant for conquest. He wasn't just a strong teenager, he was a Viltrumite, a species known for wiping out entire planets. His power came with a burden so heavy it nearly destroyed him. Spider-Man had the choice to be a hero. Mark had to fight against everything he was born to be. Aunt May is a strong woman, but let's not pretend she went through what Debbie Grayson did. Aunt May lost Uncle Ben. Yes, but she never had to question whether he ever loved her. Debbie? She spent 20 years believing she had the perfect husband, only to find out she was nothing more than a pet in his eyes. Can you even imagine that? Living your entire life thinking you were loved, raising a son with someone, only to be told you never mattered. And even after all that, she had to be strong for Mark. She couldn't just break down, she had to hold herself together while knowing the man she loved was out there, free, with the power to destroy planets. Aunt May got to keep believing in Uncle Ben's goodness. Debbie had to wake up every day knowing her entire life was a lie. Now tell me who really has it worse. Peter has taken some brutal hits in his life, but has he ever been beaten by the one person he admired most? Mark didn't just get physically destroyed, he was emotionally shattered. Every punch from Omni-Man came with words designed to break him. Why do you care about these weak humans? Your mother means nothing to me. What will you have in 500 years? Omni-Man wasn't just trying to win a fight, he was trying to erase Mark's sense of self. Peter fights villains who want to kill him, but Mark had to fight his own father, knowing he would never win. Knowing the man he loved saw him as nothing more than an obstacle. That level of pain is something Spider-Man will never understand. Mark wasn't allowed to have a normal life. Peter complains about balancing school, dating, and superhero duties, but at least he had a normal life before things got tough. Mark, he never got that chance. The second he got his powers, his father started pushing him into battle, and before he even had time to adjust, the truth was revealed: his entire existence was meant for war. Peter has moments where he can put the mask away and just be Peter Parker. Mark, even when he tries, he knows deep down that he's not just Mark Grayson, he's Viltrumite. And that responsibility will never leave him. Mark's love life is full of betrayal. Peter's relationships are messy, but let's be honest, he still gets love and loyalty. MJ always comes back. When Stacy loved him until her tragic end. Even when things go wrong, Peter is still wanted. Mark, he was cheated on by the girl he trusted, humiliated, and then had to act like nothing happened because he had bigger problems. Then, when he did find someone new, he had to question whether she could handle the nightmare that is his life. Peter has romantic struggles, but Mark's love life is pure pain. Peter blames himself for Uncle Ben's death, but that guilt is personal, it's about one person, Mark. His pain is tied to an entire species. He isn't just a grieving son, he's the last hope of Earth against an empire of superpowered conquerors. He doesn't get the luxury of only worrying about his own pain. Every time he bleeds, every time he loses, he knows that the fate of humanity rests on his shoulders. Peter thinks responsibility is hard. Mark carries responsibility that could wipe out everyone he loves if he fails. Imagine knowing that your father might come back at any moment and wipe out the entire planet. Imagine knowing that even if you survive, there's a whole empire of people just like him, stronger, older, and trained to kill, who will come looking for you. Peter has villains, sure, but his own blood isn't the enemy. Mark has to live every day knowing that his own race is the biggest threat to the people he loves. The one thing every person is supposed to have: a family, a place where they belong, is something Mark can never trust again. At least Peter Parker gets to call Earth his home. Mark, he doesn't even know if he has a home anymore. Peter worries about MJ and Aunt May, but let's be honest, most of the time, they're safe. Mark, he has to watch his friends get brutally maimed, torn apart, and even killed. Think about it, William was kidnapped and almost killed just for knowing Mark. Duplicate watch her own clones die in front of her. Monster Girl is cursed to suffer forever. The people in Mark's life don't just get caught in the crossfire, they get obliterated. Peter saves his friends. Mark, he has to live knowing that just by existing, he's putting them in mortal danger. Peter Parker loves being Spider-Man. He swings around the city, cracks jokes, and enjoys the freedom of being a superhero. Sure, he struggles, but deep down, he likes what he does. Mark, he never got that. The second he put on his suit, he was thrown into brutal battles that left him traumatized. He watched entire cities crumble. He failed to save people, and the one time he thought he was doing well, his father showed up and destroyed everything. Being invincible isn't fun, it's suffering with no escape. Peter has bad days, sure, but he gets moments of peace. He gets to swing through the city, go on dates, and even take breaks from being Spider-Man. Mark, he doesn't get that luxury. Every time he thinks things are calming down, something worse happens. If he's not getting beaten half to death, he's watching cities get destroyed. Even when he tries to step away from hero work, the universe drags him back in. The Viltrumites will never stop coming. The fights will never end. His life is a war with no finish line. Peter Parker has a clear purpose. He fights crime because it's the right thing to do. He protects people, and that's enough. But Mark, he has to question everything. What if his father was right? What if Earth can survive without Viltrumite rule? What if, no matter how hard he fights, humanity is doomed anyway? Every battle he fights, he has to wonder if he's just delaying the inevitable. He's not just fighting for justice, he's fighting against a future that might already be written in stone. And that, more than anything, is the most heartbreaking thing of all. Spider-Man struggles, but Mark suffers in ways Peter Parker could never imagine. So tell me, after everything Mark has been through, can you really say Peter Parker had it worse? Peter gets to be a hero. Mark is just trying to survive in a world that keeps tearing him apart. Who do you think truly has the most tragic story? Let me know in the comments.